Hello everybody, welcome back to Arch Mission Control, and no, it's not NASA. So, welcome back guys. I know that it's been a week back to our regularly scheduled videos, which is going to get consequently interrupted by my trip to Japan very soon. But I hope you guys have been doing well. If you haven't seen my face around before, or you're coming back from another video, just wanted to say my name is Artemis and I talk about well-endowed figures, on average. But what are we talking about today? I know that the last 2 weeks, it seems like I've only been talking about sort of negative experiences or just negative things in the figure collecting community in general, and I kind of wanted to switch things up and actually talk about figures and just my opinions on figures, stuff that I've always been doing, because I think we all need a little bit of positivity and just something else to think about rather than the economic and political state of the world, because I feel like we've been talking enough about that. But before I get into the actual subject of the video, I just wanted to thank you guys so much again for 3,000 subscribers. I know that I made that community post and I'm just overwhelmed by the amount of support and nice comments and some criticizing comments that I've gotten. I'm just really thankful for the conversations I've been able to have with you guys recently, and it just makes me happy that you guys are interacting and I get to sort of talk to you guys. That's sort of the reason why I started this channel. So thank you guys for your support, and if you're a new face, welcome. So another thing, I am trying out not non-autofocus. I know that seems stupid to mention in the beginning of the video, but a lot of people have been complaining about it recently because I move my hands everywhere. I don't know if that's an ADHD thing or if that's just me, but I move my hands around a lot, so the continuous autofocus kind of made things look a little bit weird. So I'm trying it out. If this video turns out blurry, that's on you. I'm kidding. But what are we actually talking about today? Let me actually get to the subject of the video, because that's what you guys are worried about. And you guys probably already read it in the title. But we're going to be talking about my favorite figures in the My Figure Collection Top 100. Now, what does Top 100 mean? Because the way that people like figures is entirely subjective. You know, some people may hate my collection, some people may love my collection. But the top 100 figures is purely based off of the amount of people that have the figures owned. So it's like the most owned figures, the most, like in the top 100 are the figures that are most owned in the community. I hope that makes sense. But I've done a video very similar to this a couple of months ago, but I was actually talking about my least favorite figures in the top 100, which kind of stirred the pot just a little bit. But I thought, let's do something positive. Let's actually talk about things that I enjoy. All right, let's not be a doomer. All right, let's actually talk about things that I like. Whoa. But this is a very long list because obviously if it's in the top 100, usually it's a really good figure. And some of these are actually figures that I own, so I have a little bit of a bias, if you will. But so why don't we get into it? And yeah, let's start off. We have a long list today. We have a very long list today, but I hope you'll bear with me. Hold on, wait a minute. Before we get started on that, I actually want to thank today's sponsor, TokyoTreat and Sakuraco, and I would like to thank them for sponsoring today's video. So why don't we go see what yummy little treats they have for us this month and what you can have in your bellies and in mine. Anyways, voice over Artemis in 3, 2, 1. Whoop. Alrighty, so let's get into Tokyo-Treat and Sakuraco. If you watched my channel before, you know that these are both Japanese monthly snack boxes, but Tokyo-Treat is more so to diversify your taste buds, while Sakuraco focuses on Japanese culture and traditional snacks. So, in Tokyo-Treat this month, the theme is Japanese Snackfari, as you can tell by all the animal-themed snacks, which I thoroughly enjoyed. And there's things like animal crackers and just tiger orange-themed cognac jelly. I really like the snack box. But in Sakuraco, the theme is actually savoring Osaka. And in Sakuraco, there's a monthly home good, and this time it's the Shiji Fukujin Daruma Tengui. And each Sakuraco box has these things. Both of these snack boxes have a pamphlet for allergen information and just a description of all of the snacks that you can get, and I'm really excited to taste these with you guys. So why don't we go check them out? Alright, so we are back, and why don't we actually try tasting some of the things that I have shown you. A lot of the things looked very yummy, and I have the honor of tasting it just for you guys, just to give you a little sneak peek as to what you are going to be expecting. So why don't we get started with Sakuraco? Usually I start off with Sakuraco simply because they have a very traditional array of snacks, but sometimes they do have fun things like this little octopus senbei thing. That is the first thing that we're going to be trying today, and hopefully it ends up being somewhat good. So why don't we taste test it, and I can let you know if it's worth your hard-earned clams. I'm pretty sure it says it in the actual description of our Bible, which I mentioned, but there's actually like some type of filling in this, and it's not just a traditional senbei, which I really enjoy. And honestly, this was one of my favorites. This is one of my favorite snacks already. I already know that this is going to be one of my favorites, so I would rate this a 10 out of 10, but why don't we use this as an opportunity to go ahead and let's talk about TokyoTreat, because TokyoTreat has some very exciting ones this month. And primarily, I did not open this off camera, I promise, but we have this little like tiger cognac, oh god damn it. We have this tiger cognac jelly, and I'm not gonna lie, I've already eaten it. I've already eaten it. You guys can fight me or not, but like if you've never had cognac, Jesus, I'm gonna say it wrong every single time. If you've never had cognac jelly before, it's literally jelly, and you literally just go ahead. This one is like either an orange or a tangerine flavor, and I cannot get enough of this. This is by far my favorite item ever. I know I said that about the octopus thing, but this is so good. And like the bag is practically empty. I'm lying to all of you, but now I get to taste test it and use it as my little segment, because why not? Okay, so I primarily saved this because I thought this guy was so funny. I've seen him on multiple, like, I guess like ads and like different shows. I don't know if he's from a kid's show or something, but he's just so funny. Like, okay, again, I hope this focuses, because again, I'm not using continuous focus, but this guy looks so hilarious, and it's like these corn ball things. Actually, I don't know exactly what it is, but I'm gonna try to not ruin the artwork because I want to save it and paste it in my journal, because yeah, I journal. But yeah, let's try. That's like a peanut thing. If you are allergic to peanuts, obviously it's in the little pamphlet when it says allergens, but my god, I did not read. So make sure you read. But that is like a peanut flavored thing I have never tasted in my life. So just beware. It tastes good, but I would give it a 7 out of 10. Just to be nice, just to be nice. You know what? Why don't we go into the Kit Kat for the month? The Kit Kat for the month is actually like a salty caramel. And you know me, I love me a Kit Kat. But salty caramel isn't actually my favorite flavor out there. So I'm kind of, willing to see how this ends up. But if you're a salty caramel person, I'll let you know how it is. Oh yeah, Jesus Christ. See, that Kit Kat is what I expect when I hear salty caramel. Because when I usually get salty caramel items, it's like so overly sweet. Now it is sweet, don't get me wrong. It is a very sweet, like, Kit Kat. But is it as disgustingly sweet as, other salty caramel items I've had in the past? No. So I would definitely give that a 9 out of 10. That's a Kit Kat that I would actually enjoy in my own free time. And you guys can get that for yourselves by using my code in the description below, or in the, or in the comment section that I posted. And you can get $5 off a future purchase from either TokyoTreat and Sakuraco. And you can get it for yourself. You can get it for your mom, your dad, your siblings, your cousins, literally the whole family. Literally the whole family. And every single month they have different boxes. I'm pretty sure I went through that entire spiel. But if you guys found any of these snacks interesting, or any of the things that I showed you, go ahead and open that link in the subscription. You're helping both of us out, because we both get to have yummy things in our belly. Anyways, let's get back to the actual point of the video. And yep, bye. All right, we have gone through, and we have finished our little sponsored segment. So why don't we actually talk about the figures that I absolutely love in the top 100. Now, a lot of these are going to be basic. A lot of these are actually going to be in the top 10. But I think that overall, I've just admired these figures from when I started collecting at first. So I think it's just appropriate to actually talk about them and just rave about them for a bit. And a lot of these have actually been on my wish list for a very long amount of time, until I gave up finding them. But this would not be a top 100 MFC figure list without mentioning the Xiaohua Miku figure by My Ethos. I actually have it right over here, and it is currently the #1 owned figure on MFC, and for very good reason. I rarely see figures that exude so much elegance and so much beauty and so much craftsmanship than this figure. And it honestly, in my opinion, a lot of people say that it's very overhyped, or it's very, like, basic to own this figure, but especially when you bought it when it first came out, like it shook the figure community. I remember seeing every other post talking about this figure, and honestly, we have to give it its flowers, whether you like it or you don't. It is a fantastic figure, and the paint job really put My Ethos on the map. I have loved My Ethos for the longest time. They are my favorite figure manufacturer by far. But if there was one figure that I think put them on the map and put them into the public eye and made My Ethos like one of the first Chinese figure companies to be put on MFC, it's definitely the Xiaohua Miku, and I just absolutely love it. So next on our list is actually number 3. Again, a lot of them are from the top 10, but it's the Bake Monogatari. Oh god. Oh, I don't know how to say this name. Okay, hold on. Senjo Gohara. Hitagagi. Hitagi. And it's a 1/8 scale by Good Smile Company. Now, this figure, I was not expecting to love it as much as I do, but I have seen this figure over and over and over again. And not necessarily in people's collections, but it's just like invaded my mind, and it is such a gorgeous, beautiful figure. Just the composition in itself, like all the things that are falling out of her skirt, I guess. I haven't watched the show, so I really wouldn't know what reference that is to. I'm pretty sure it's from the intro, but this is one of those figures where like I see it and it just boggles my mind that even with older figures, they were just so creative from the start. And this is like one of the figures that actually got me into figure collecting, but not enough to like make me buy the figure, for example. I would love to have it in my collection one day, but that is one of my favorite figures in the top 100. Also, I'm just going based on order, like from number 1 to 100. I cannot rank these at all. I cannot rank these based on which ones I like more, because all of them are fantastic. And all the ones I owned would be at the S rank, so it doesn't really make any sense to rank it that way. But let's get on to the next one, because we have 4 pages to go through. Jesus Christ. So, next one is number 5 on the list. We're actually going with odd numbers this time around. That's the shtick. But it's actually the Danganronpa Kirigiri Kyoko figure, and it's with Monokuma on the side. I'm pretty sure that's the little teddy bear that's near her. And this is another one of those figures, just like the Hitagi figure, that just looks so impressive. Like it just made me realize how dynamic figures can be. And that's actually why I don't collect a lot of figures that are just like standing or just in like swimsuit poses or bunny figures. Now, I do have a lot of bunny figures, but I bought them because I like the composition or the way that they look. But there's a lot of like 1/8 scales, 1/7 scales, and 1/6 scales that are pretty, I guess, stiff. I guess that's the best way to call it. And these 2 figures that I just mentioned sort of showed me that figures can be dynamic and they can be absolutely fantastic in their composition. So it kind of set my standards all the way here, and it actually has saved me quite a bit of money because I didn't go through the phase where I just buy every figure of a character that I like. So I have to thank it for that. But it's just absolutely gorgeous. All the details are to die for, and one of my favorite figures. Now, this is actually one that I wasn't expecting for myself, because I did not like this figure for quite some time. But it is the number 7. We really are going with odd numbers. It is the 1/8 Hatsune Miku Deep Sea Girl version, and she is number 7 on the list. Yeah. But this figure, I think, is much older than I think it is, and it actually came out in 2014. Yeah, that was its original release. So it does look like an older figure, but again, these older figures had some type of magic in them where it's like you can see the vision from like a mile away. And even though I probably wouldn't buy it for my own collection, and just with the way that things have turned out, it's a gorgeous figure, and I love seeing it on other people's collections. I love seeing pictures of her in other people's setups, and honestly, it's always like a joy to see whenever somebody has it. So again, a lot of these figures are like things that I've had on my wish list and took off my wish list, or maybe I just didn't end up buying them, or even if I could buy them, I wouldn't buy them. And that's simply because I enjoy looking at figures, I enjoy looking at other people's setups, and I might do like a little setup thing in the future. But I really enjoy just looking at some figures, but not necessarily needing them in my collection, and this is definitely one of those. So now we finally have an even number, but let's move on to the 1/7 Asuka Langley jersey version by Alter. Now, if you've been collecting figures for a little while, you've probably heard of this figure before, and honest to God, she was like top priority on my wish list when I first started collecting, and it's almost nostalgic to think about because I wanted her so badly, but I just couldn't justify the price, and especially now, it's just, her aftermarket has been high for a very, very long amount of time. So if you have her, congratulations, you have a good stock right on you if you care about that type of thing. But as much as I love her, when I watched Evangelion for the first time after I wished her, I ended up hating Asuka. So that's why I actually don't have any Asuka figures out of principle. But you guys can kill me for that in the comments. I just don't like Asuka, and I was not going to spend so much on aftermarket for a character that I do not like. Now, does that mean that all the figures that I bought of characters that I do not know are worthless? No, I just happen to catch it on time, if that makes any sense. So, lucky me, I guess. But going straight on to number 11, this is the one right after Asuka, is actually the, I guess, 1-to-1? I don't know, maybe because it's a small Miku, but it's the Symphony 5th Anniversary Miku version, and it's by Good Smile Company. Now again, if you've been collecting figures, if you're in the collecting space, if you're in the collecting community, if you're on the Reddit, literally anywhere, you've probably seen this figure around before, and it's for good reason. It's kind of like the Shaohua Miku, but not nearly as popular, but just with how gorgeous it is as a concept, and from the, original art to the creation of the actual figure, I rarely see figures that just blow me away from the first, look anymore, and I'm gonna be so real with you, I regret not pre-ordering this figure. It's become a little bit too expensive for me to justify now, but maybe in the future when I have a little bit more extra funds, I would definitely be willing to, buy this figure. But absolutely gorgeous figure. I hope to get her one day, but that is one of the figures that I have on my wish list that I hope goes down just a little bit. Or maybe a re-release, just let me know. Hit my line, Good Smile Company. I know I'm canceling my pre-orders, but just hit me up. But let's go. Let's skip a few down in the list, and let's go to number 17, the 1/8 Hatsune Miku racing version from 2014. Now, I said earlier that I like really complicated compositions, but this figure is different, and I promise, and I'll tell you why. I don't know if I'm showing it up here, and I probably am, but this figure just has such a radiance to it, I guess. It's just so stylistic in terms of the way that her hair just floats behind her, and I'm obsessed with it. I remember this was one of the figures that actually got me obsessed with figure collecting, and I wanted her for a very long amount of time. I'm pretty sure her aftermarket isn't even that bad. It's not even that bad, but for some reason I just can't get myself to buy it. I don't know, maybe I need to graduate first in order to justify that purchase, but I just absolutely love it. I think this figure is amazing, and maybe since the aftermarket isn't too bad, I'll pick her up myself and I'll share it with you guys, obviously, but she is great, and I think she deserves her position on here. I'm surprised at how high she is on this list, though, to be honest, but, whatever. We're actually skipping 10 places this time around. Again, I have a lot of ones that I like, but it's very weird in where they're either all towards the very top or they're all towards the very bottom. So I'm not really sure why the quartiles are like that for me in terms of my interests, but I don't know what that says about me. You could tell me down below. But let's go to number 27, and this is another Miku. There are a lot of Mikus on this list, but there's just a lot of Mikus in general. So let's not call me basic just for liking the Miku figures. But this was actually a Miku that I skipped buying, even though she was put up for re-release. But I do really love seeing this in people's collections, and it's the Trick or Miku Union Creative figure. And this figure was another one that when I first started collecting, I'm like, this is my grail, I need this figure. But it was very expensive in the aftermarket, especially before its re-release. I don't remember when the re-release was, but everybody collectively lost their fucking minds when this was announced for re-release. And I'm pretty sure her box, the light up box surrounding her was re-released as well. And again, I loved this figure with every part of my being, but at this point, my collection was already starting to get a little bit curated, or I guess I knew what my tastes were more at this point, and to be honest, like, I didn't need it, right? I loved looking at it. I loved seeing people with the display box and seeing it in people's collections. But it's sort of one of those figures where it's like, it's an artwork to look at, but not specifically for me to go out and buy. Because then I'd want the display box, and I don't want to, you know, make a whole shrine dedicated to this one figure. It's not, you know, Night Hag Lilith, you know, a level of importance to me. So definitely something I was considering, but didn't end up getting. But I love seeing this figure, and I think I'm not surprised that she is this high on the list. I honestly thought she would be higher, but hell, who knows? It's kind of an older figure, so maybe that's why it's not as high. Now, okay, before we judge me for this one, right? It's number 34. We're in the 30s now, right? And that's how long this list is. But I do not know the source material. I have heard that it is problematic. I do not know. I do not know. I've never watched it. I just see handsome man, okay? I just wanted to clear that up. But the next one on the list is the Dramatical Murder Ren and the Sarakagi Aoba? Aoba? I don't know, he has a very strange name. not strange, but like I just don't know how to pronounce it, like the dumb American that I am. But I absolutely love this figure. Again, composition. I love composition. I love figures with cool composition. I love figures with cool poses. And this figure gives me everything. It gives me cool colors. It gives me sexy little man. Little man. It gives me great accessories around him. Now, there is a downside to this figure where all of his accessories are really easy to break, but if you've watched my Shimmy on Maifu figure, I've already dealt with that. So maybe I'm really looking to have this figure in my collection at some point. By the way, it's a 1/7 and it's from Max Factory. I didn't mention that before. But, like, it's so expensive. It's so expensive, and I do not think it's going to get a re-release. But, if I can get my hands on it one day, I absolutely will have it in my collection. I want it in my blue part of my collection, maybe if I have more space. But I absolutely love this figure. I definitely think it should be higher, but for the fact that it's from, I think, a BL series to begin with, the fact that it's this popular already shocks me. So, you know, props to them. Props to them for figuring that out. But for number 34, it's not too bad. Now, okay. This one is the Suicidal Miku. If you've been watching since the beginning, which isn't even that long ago, if you've been watching in the last year, you know about my Suicidal Miku. And it is this one right over here. So she is actually at number 45, and she is the number 37 Hatsune Miku 1/7 Lamrock version, and she is actually by TokyoTreat, one of my favorite figure retailers, and I've already blabbed around so much about why I love them and why you guys should buy from them. But, like, other than the fact that I just love TokyoTreat, they made such a fantastic figure, and for her price point, I could not resist just how amazing she is. By the way, when I like used my points and stuff, I got her for $94, including shipping, EMS shipping. So that's $70 for the figure. I'm pretty sure she was like $130, just base price, which is nuts considering how beautiful she is. Now, is she a pain in my ass? And has she tried to kill herself multiple times on camera? Yes. And does her top part of the body actually like not connect in my figure? Yes. But would I buy her 5 times over? Yes. So, you know, I have a love-hate relationship with her. She has a love-hate relationship with me. But she looks fantastic, and I wish she was higher on this list. But considering that she's more of a budget figure, definitely happy that she's up here. Now, let me not repeat the same mistake that I did before. But again, it's another Miku. We've already crossed that bridge. It's just a Miku video at this point. But for number 45, we have the 1/6 Sakura Hanami outfit version, and she is a Hatsune Miku. And okay, you guys might remember from my top figures that I dislike in the top 100. I need to bite my words. I need to eat my words from what I said last time, because she was in that list. And from the prototype pictures, because she wasn't released at that point, I did not like her. I thought that she just looked too pink, too samey. And I did not judge anybody for liking that figure because, again, like, the composition was cool, the accessories were cool, and just in general, I could see why people would like it. But for me, I was just like, it kind of just looks like a pink highlighter. But I'm gonna put up some in real life pictures of her. My God, I have never regretted not pre-ordering something more. Or at least I have like Caroline Urey and stuff, but like this is definitely up there with the actual final product turning out so much better than the result, than the prototype. And my God, I take everything I said back. You guys can shoot me, you guys can put me up on a stake, but I regret what I said before, and I hope you guys will forgive me. I've committed a grave sin, and she turned out really good, just to spite me. But you know, let's not talk about that. Now again, this is another controversial series. I have not played the games. I have not watched the anime. I don't know anything about the source material. I have just heard that it's like weird because they're like, oh, but they're like young Kakuro. I don't know. But I love this set so much that I'm willing to put aside my morals. And it's just so artistically pleasing to look at. And it's at number 48 on the list, which is not surprising. But it's the Nekopara Vanilla version like figure by Native, and I don't know what scale it is, but Chocola's counterpart is number 56. So they're both in the top 100. But this set has been almost at the top of my wish list for the longest amount of time. Now, do I wish they had a cast-on option? Yes, because I do not buy figures for the cast-off option. But there are people who do like 3D, I guess, like castings or like 3D covers for their chest area, which I really appreciate, and that's the way I would display them. But my God, I have never seen a set, like a duo of figures that I just loved more. These are like artistic perfection, and I am willing to ignore all of the like controversial things, as embarrassing as it is, and I'm willing to be called like all sorts of names, but this figure is just absolutely gorgeous, and maybe when it's not $500 I am willing to buy it. But you know, definitely some of my top figures in my wish list. Just a little bit too pricey, and I do feel bad for the person that I said I would buy it from. Please forgive me if you're watching this, but I didn't mean to back out so late. It's just $500. It was a big purchase for me at the time. Please don't kill me. Anyways, before we go back to my old purchases. So we're sitting at number 63. We're skipping a few. Oh, like the 50s completely gone. Remember, again, when I said quartiles? I don't know why it's that case. Or I don't know why that's the case. But we're at number 63, and it's the Kagamine Len 1/7 Tony version by Max Factory. And my God, I do not understand why this figure is so expensive. And the Ren counterpart. Or wait, no, Rin and Len, the Rin counterpart. Both of these figures easily go for up to $200, $300 each. And again, it looks fantastic. Have you seen his hair? It's fantastic. But I just like, I've been listening to Vocaloid since I was like in middle school. And again, before Vocaloid became like this huge thing, it was already pretty big and it was already growing at the time. But this is like OG, like 12, 15 years ago type deal. And Rin and Len were like my favorite Vocaloids back then, other than like I2 or IA. I'm already forgetting. I literally have her CDs like out in the living room. But this figure is so goddamn expensive to buy, and I just cannot justify it. I just can't justify it. I can't do it. Until it like lowers in the aftermarket, or I'm able to find it for like a steal because somebody like farted on it or something. Like I just can't get it. I just can't afford it. I just can't justify it to myself. But one day I will have this figure. One day it will be mine. And I will be so satisfied to have it in my collection. Now, remember earlier how I said I do not like Asuka Langley? I do not like Asuka Langley. But I will say, for number 68, this Radio Ava Part 2 version by Hobby Max, and it's the 1/7 scale of her, it looks gorgeous. I can be a hater. I can be a D1 hater, actually. But sometimes I have to learn what my limits are. I have to give flowers where they're due. And they really killed it with the Radio Ava series, just in general. Like, I have a Rei figure, and I don't even like Rei that much. Misato and Kaoru and Shinji are the best in the series. But anyways, and the, like, other adult. Ritsuko or something. Yeah, but anyways, like, this figure, absolutely gorgeous, knocked it out of the park. She was, like, the first one to release, or at least have, like, a prototype that's fully covered, or colored. And then, like, Kaoru came next. But absolutely love this figure. And let's go to number 73 real quick. So number 73 is actually another Vocaloid. I know, many Vocaloids. But it's the 1/8 Megurine Luca. And she is the Hanairo Goromo version. And it's by Stronger. Now, it's basically a kimono figure. And there's this entire set of all the Vocaloids in it. but I think that she is the most impressive and most beautifully sculpted out of the ones, and like the most beautifully painted. So that's why I have her on this list. But I just love her. I just love her. I love Luca in general, but I need this figure eventually when I have a lot more space. But she definitely deserves to be on this list, if not higher. I know the Miku is like way higher than her for some reason. Again, it's a beautiful figure, but I think that they kind of killed it with Luca a little bit more. But for number 74, we're literally just going 74, 75, whatever. But I have the Shining Hearts Melty de Granite Sorbet figure. I do not know this series, but she is a 1/8 and she's by Alter. Now, again, older figure. Beautiful composition, beautiful pose, beautiful concept. I don't think I've seen the original art for this, or maybe I did a very long time ago, but this figure, again, one of those figures that like made me realize how amazing figure collecting can be, and I just loved it. I loved it from the start, and I'm surprised I don't have it in my collection, to be honest. I'll buy it one day. I don't even think her aftermarket is that bad, but you know, whatever. But one day she'll be in my collection. I don't really have much to say about her. I love the little ice cream. I've had an ice cream figure before, but I ended up selling her. This one is definitely more up my alley and with my collection. So number 75. Okay, if I played Pokemon Black for the first time very recently, actually Pokemon White? I think I played, no. I played Pokemon White for the first time very recently. My first games were like X and Y and then onward, but I played it for the first time very recently and I fell in love with N. That's actually what got me back into Pokemon card collecting. But I didn't realize he had a figure. Now, I hope he follows in the same trajectory that the other Pokemon figures have been doing, where they've been getting re-releases, because I'm not paying aftermarket prices for him, but it is the Pocket Monsters and Zora Pokemon Center original figure, and it's by Kotobukiya and the Pokemon Center. So I hope that this figure gets released. He looks so handsome in this, but if anything, I'll just buy the $300 card. But anyways, I'm not actually going to spend $300 on a card. Are you crazy? But I hope that he is freed from this prison. And the last on the official list, before I mention one honorable mention, is actually number 77. It's kind of shocking that like for the last the 80 or like 20 that are on this list, I didn't really have any bangers. But to end off, this is actually a figure that I own. She's literally like right there. It's actually the Ultra Pendragon 1/8 Saber, and she's the motored Crusader? I think it's supposed to say Crusader. Well, actually, no. Crusader. Crusader? Crusader? Anyways, but I absolutely love this figure. I am shocked that she is not higher on this list. In my opinion, she is one of the best figures ever made. And the fact that I got her for such a cheap and good price will always make me so happy. And I didn't have to end up spending aftermarket or even retail value for her. I bought her for $70. And it was like $20 in shipping. So I spent like $90 to $100 on her just because like her back foot didn't have the peg on it. So one of my best figure purchases, and just overall some of my, like one of my favorite figures of all time. So I wish she was higher on this list. I can't really determine, you know, what's on the list anyway, because who's going to listen to me? But definitely way to end off this video and way to end off my little list of hyperfixation figures. But I did want to give one honorable mention, and I'll tell you why it's not actually on the list, because I didn't do a tier list. But it's actually the Maka Alburn, like, Soul Eater figure by Metacom Toy. And this is the Maka figure that's, like, almost $500, I'm pretty sure, every time you try to buy her. And I'm gonna be so real with you. I am very disappointed by this figure. Soul Eater was one of my first animes growing up, and I just cannot see why it's this popular. There's something about the face or the eyes or something that just does not really scream Maka to me. And again, the pose is fantastic. The composition, I guess, is fantastic. But something about the figure is off to me, and I would definitely not spend more than like maybe $150 max on this figure. So that's why it's an honorable mention. But all of these figures, obviously, as we've gone through, have been fantastic. And if you have that figure, I am jealous, even though I said it's not my favorite. But treasure it, because I hope you leave your windows open at night, because it's safer for your figures. They need to air out. But that's really all I have for you guys today. I don't really have much else to say. Thank you guys for looking at the little TokyoTreat and Sakuraco sponsor. Thank you guys for sponsoring my video. And again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys so much for 3,000 subscribers. Again, voiceover Artemis will probably take over and, actually say all the important stuff. But, while I take a little break and go to Japan and maybe enjoy my graduation, I'm really happy that you guys have decided to join me for this time. And I hope that the autofocus, you guys like that a little bit better. I hope it's not autofocus because I cannot tell. But thank you guys so much again. And yeah, let me know what you guys think down below. Are there any figures that you really like on the top 100 that I just failed to mention and you really want to point it out and poke fingers at me and sort of bully me? Do it! I dare you! But I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I don't really know how to make an outro, so voiceover Artemis is going to take over. Anyways, bye! Welcome back to the end of another video. I know this one was a lot longer than the last two, but I hope that the topic was a little bit more fun and a little bit, more interesting than the other two if you guys aren't looking for news on your daily YouTube scroll. So, I know that I said that I would have a bunch of important information, but again, I know you guys are probably tired of hearing this, but I am extremely grateful for the little community that I have over here, and I am really happy to see all the new faces. Now, I hate to announce that I will be taking a slight break from YouTube, and I will try to post when I am in Japan, because I'm leaving literally in less than half a month. So I will try to upload to the best of my ability from there, and I will try to keep you guys updated and have fun videos for you. But in case I don't, I just want to say I'm really, really appreciative of you guys sticking around, maybe waiting for me, but things have been kind of tough lately, and normally I joke around at the end of these videos, but unfortunately I don't have any bloopers, and I don't have any really cool jokes to be saying, so thank you guys for watching, and yeah, I will keep you guys updated. Hope you guys are doing good. Anyways, bye!